3. Let's hand it over to the analyst desk to break down how it all happened.
Thank you very much, Pyra. And well, you guys talked a little bit about a slower start. It was a very interesting start, and we want to zoom in on that bottom lane straight from the start, because there were also the place where the most new members on both teams are coming from. And you wanted to take a look at the first blood, and it wouldn't be an EU LCS first day without a Jankos first blood, so that was kind of to be expected.
Yeah, and the reason we want to take a look at this is because you can definitely tell that these teams are coming out of the gate quite slowly. The compositions meant that mid and top lane were kind of pretty much locked, so all the action was going around bot lane, and then we kind of see the difference between solo queue and professional play here, especially in Hiva, in how he approaches that brush, because he's going for a standard move right now. Yeah, Jankos will kind of jump into the brush, and you just got to look at Hiva right now, what he sees on his map. Che and Nuclear have been gone for quite a while. Remember, they went kind of to mid lane, back to the bot lane. Then they group with Jankos, and they're going to go over the plant here into the river brush, and that's obviously a brush you always want to ward as a support when you're pushing. Che and Nuclear, they were pushing all the time, but look at Hiva right now. He sees his AD carry pushing pretty far up. He knows 3 members are missing, so there's 3 dots on the minimap that he doesn't know where they are, and he's approaching that brush without a flash. That is a mistake you can't afford to make in professional play, and he knows that. And it's not when he shows this replay he's going to be like, oh yes, oh, that makes so much sense. He already knows that. It's just the fact that you need to consistently apply all these kind of fundamentals and basics on the pro play stage is what's going to make it hard for Origen this season.
And this is why we criticized them in terms of experience coming in. This is one of the things that we felt like that they were lacking, and this is just a clear illustration of what we were sort of expecting from Origen, where like they understand what they should be doing, but then when it comes to actually putting it into practice, they don't always fall.
Yeah. However, we also need to look at the other side, because a little bit later, H2K made similar mistakes in terms of having information but not acting accordingly.
And this is why this game was kind of on a lock, because they were very hesitant. Right here, we see Wisdom shown on a ward from H2K. Guys, we have like the H2K vision on right now, so this is what they see right now. So they see the enemy jungler entering his red squadron. He's going down to Tribush. He's even going to get flashed real quick before this plant phase. So they're completely aware that there's a Rek'Sai there. Yet he's allowed to tunnel in. Yes, it's surprising because he comes out of Fog of War. But then in flash range, Nuclear should always at least try to respect flash damage, especially since the animation for the arrow starts early from tabs. So this was actually outplayable by H2K. And again, hesitation, first game of the year, you know, but these are the ways in. You asked earlier, Shocks, how can Origen win? Well, if they exploit these kind of mistakes from H2K, because they're coming out cold.
And we're going to see a little bit later on how we saw more mistakes that could be exploited. And I feel like this is just teams getting back on the stage, getting back used to what it is to play in pro play. We talked about the fact that H2K did take a little bit longer before they actually started scrimming. And I think that as time goes on, as this series goes on, we should see slightly finer play. But we've demonstrated that both teams are a little rough around the edges very early on into the game. But things do get better for the side of H2K as we transition into this next big mid fight that happened at around the 20 minutes.
Not entirely, though, because they don't come out unscathed. We're going to take a look at this. They decide, as you said, the game comes kind of on lockdown, and H2K try and make a move mid, but push a little bit too far.
Yeah, they do just just before this play, it did end up that Karma goes down as a result of getting caught out of position. And the thing about this play is that we had a bit of a stalemate before this point. It was about 20 minutes, not very much was happened. The bot lane turret had already gone down, and basically H2K wanted to wait for Baron to come up before they could look to try and contest vision around him. They were looking to try and find a pick. They found it onto Hiva, they pressured down onto the mid lane turret, and then they just used the fact that they had the Shen, the Kha'Zix flank to set up that dive. But unfortunately, it was just ever so slight miscommunication errors where you had the backline still being collapsed upon by the Maokai, and it was just a bit of back and forth that H2K didn't properly execute the dive.
Yeah, and this game was also a good example of where it seems like really close for a while, and even the casters talking about like if Origen scale, they're fine. But one thing we have to note though is the concept of lane priority. Syndra always kind of has the push on Rise. Their bottom lane was getting comfortable, having a little bit more pressure. Jankos, the more experienced jungler, was always stepping into Wisdom's jungle, leaving a ward here and there, revealing information. Eventually they take down the mid lane turret. Then they switch to the top side of the map, and yes, nothing happened until 20 minutes because there was nothing to kind of pivot around. The second that Baron spawns, we see again Hiva trying to get some vision in there, but there's no backup. When he looks left and right, his lanes are pushed in, which keeps him in the back of his own jungle, and that's when Origen starts struggling again, and they keep making a mistake. And I think we have a final 4 free play now that shows it again, where Origen, they're crumbling under this pressure. Nobody is doing anything really wrong. Like, Sartorius is bot, he should be there, even though he doesn't have teleport. If he's not bottom right now, he's going to get pushed in by Shen, and Odoamne will leverage that advantage. But at the same time, Origen is being greedy. They saw Zyra clear ward, they're like, okay, guys, let's kill the support. But then they forget, honestly, that
Mid is being pushed in.
Yeah.
Like you don't have any vision on the jungler because of all the pressure that's being exerted. Like
you know jungler's not there. You know the enemy has a Shen ultimate that he can use. You know your Maokai doesn't have teleport. Right in those moments, you're playing kind of sustain mode.
Yeah.
So your demeanor should be passive.
Yeah.
But they're playing aggressive on top side while trying to sustain on bot side, and that just doesn't work. So we need to see Origen fix that, become more of a unit. But it's very hard to do that on the pro stage.
And this transitioned into a Baron, which effectively sealed the game for H2K. And the way in which they closed it out was very clean. And I think this is more of what we're likely to see from H2K.
Definitely is from H2K, and we have to see if OG can maybe clean up some of that and get in there more in the early game as well. And they have another game to do it, possibly two. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have game 2 between Origen and H2K. Don't go anywhere.
Looking down and locked him in. Goes Hiva is down. First blood. They want to push him off this tower. Nuclear is not going to live, or is he? Flashing. Satori is picking up the kill. We have Shenlong now, okay? I want to fight. Wisdom gone in, but it doesn't matter. Nuclear will finish him off. Jaeger. No!